Welcome to the Wisdom and Hustle podcast. I'm your host, Felicia Brown, where we inspire, motivate, and encourage you as you pivot towards your what's next. Today's conversation is not only for people who might be looking for a hustle in organizing or becoming an author, but also for anyone who's ever looked around their home, looked at their calendar or their life and thought, something has to change, but I don't know where to start. And that can be simply starting for your what's next. My guest, Racine Williams, is the founder of Elite Organizing Services, where organization isn't about perfection, it's about peace and purpose and passing something on to the next generation. And she's also the author of Upside Down is Right Side Up, that's grounded in teaching friendship, forgiveness, and accepting of differences. Inspired as the first Black female gymnast at the University of Nebraska. While she helps people reclaim their time and space, she's teaching life skills very early. This conversation is about clearing more than closets and rooms, but about clearing mental space, generational habits, and the stories we tell ourselves about what we can and can't let go of. So let's just jump right in and welcome Racine. Thank you for joining this conversation. And so, it's so timely, Racine, because like as we were concluding 2025, I really went through this thing around purging, cleansing, getting rid of books and pictures and papers and all the things that was really like preventing me from having this space that felt fresh and like feeling like some sense of renewed. And so I think this conversation really is timely because I think that, it's always at the end of the year when we're starting to think about like, okay, I'm closing the door on one thing, I'm
Right.
opening the door for the next thing. So like, take us back a little bit before the business, before the book. Like, what was going on in your life when you realized like this is something you wanted to do, the thing you wanted to pivot towards as your next thing?
Well, first, thank you for having me. I appreciate it. Sharing all of this information. For me, I have always, since I was a child, wanted everything in its place. I was not the
Mm.
child where the mom said, clean your room. My room was always clean. There was a place for everything, and everything was in its place. So it's
Mhm.
not something that I grew into. I think it's just innately in me.
There
So
wasn't a little bit
that's
of
how
OCD there, was it, Racine?
no, that's how I was as no, that's just how I was as a child,
Okay, okay.
I didn't stress out if, one drawer was open, but no, I liked everything in its place.
Okay.
But then fast forward to maybe 2016, I said I wasn't going to start this business until after I finished parenting, which would have been 2021 because I would have
Mm,
had a child graduate from high school in 2018 and 2021. What happened was my son came in and he was about 16 years old. And he said, Mommy, what are you doing? And I said, I want to start my own professional organizing business. And I'm just looking at business cards. I want to do everything right. I want to have my LLC registered with the state and everything. And he said, Oh, Mommy, I see you. I see you. And when he said that, he wasn't joking around or playing with me. And I thought to myself, wait a minute. I'm not going to wait until after they graduate from high school. I'm going to start the process. Now, I
mm,
may not take on any clients because I'm busy parenting and ripping all over the place, but I'm going to start the process while my kids are in the home so they can see what I'm doing. I'm not going to shove it down their throat, but he got so excited when I said, I want to have my own business. So I thought I should start the process while they were still under my roof. So in 2016, I got everything in place so
mhm.
that when they graduated, I would be ready to go.
I love that. I mean, I love that you had this idea. And
Mhm.
then, a lot of times, Racing, we need this a little bit of validation. Am I off track? And so it was nice that your son kind of gave you that validation to say, Ma, you on track. Like, I see this in you.
Right. And I
Like,
was
I see this
surprised.
possibility.
Right. And he was 16 and I was like, oh, I mean, he was so proud. And all I said was, I'm just looking at business cards.
Right.
I just need to see, I was on Vistaprint and I'm trying to design a business card. And he got so excited. And that just changed my mind completely and said, I'm going to start this now. And as I was going through the process, I'll just ask for their advice on different things. What do you think of
Mm,
this color? What do you think of this font? You know, not
nice.
shoving them into it, but just, hey, what do you think about this wording? What
Mhm,
do you think about that?
mhm,
And they
mhm.
would tell me. And so that's what I did. So by the time I was ready to bring on clients, everything was in place.
I like that. I like that. So you really thought it was really what I might say is very methodical
Yes.
a little bit. But, of course you got validation from your loved ones to say, yeah, or to say, Ma, yeah, I'm not so sure about that. I'm I don't
Right.
really see you doing that.
Right. And I wasn't looking for anything from him. He just happened to ask, what are you doing?
Right.
And I told him, and that was his response.
And so Racine, okay, so you got validation
Mhm.
and you this that sense of, okay, I can do this. Whether you had all the pieces in place. And so what was really kind of like, so were you thinking about like why you landed here on organizing?
I don't know. I can share this with you. Do you remember the TV show The Odd Couples?
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
My mother was a black female Felix Unger.
Uh,
Do you remember which one Felix was?
so Felix was the thinner guy, right?
Right, who was very neat and organized, and Oscar was
Right. Okay, it's coming back to me now. It's coming back.
the house that I grew up in, there was a place for everything and everything in its place all the time, and everything was clean. You could literally eat
Wow.
off of our kitchen floor. You would be absolutely fine. So that's how my mom was. Maybe I got it from her, but it
Mhm,
wasn't anything, of course, maybe it wasn't anything that was taught, but it was caught. Do you know what
mhm,
I mean?
mhm. Yep.
And I guess I just followed suit.
I love that. So,
Mhm.
okay. So now we got the business cards, we got the colors. Hey, we got the
What
we
do we
got
do?
the we got the validation. And so we're off to the races.
We're off to the races. And
What?
so
Go ahead.
I was gonna say I probably got my first well, in the beginning, I did a lot of just pro bono work
Okay.
because when I started telling my friends, I'm like, okay, I have an organizing business, but I wasn't quite ready to jump in because when I do something, I'm going to do it 100%.
Mhm.
I'm not going to half do it. And so because I was so busy in the parenting arena, when people asked me if I could organize, I would say yes, but I have this, and this. And they were my close friends. I did. I mean, you got to be honest. I'm not going to tell you I'm going to do something and then not do it or half
Mhm.
do it. So I said, but I have this on this night, this. And they were like, Racine, it's fine. We know you're busy. Just whenever.
Right.
So I just started doing organizing for friends and I was doing it pro bono, which was fine with me.
Mhm. Mhm.
And I got to them when I got to them and they were fine with it. So that's kind of how it started back in, let's say, 17, 18, and 19, 2017, 2018, and 2019.
Got it. Got it. And so that really kind of gave you a sense of, is this possible too? I would imagine. Like, is this something that it's not something that I think I want to do, but like I'm really good at it?
Oh,
Or
I'm really good at it. And I knew I wanted to do it. There was no, there
because
was no wondering about it. It
because
was like,
sometimes we try our hand. I've tried my hands at so many things,
mhm.
and and then you're like, okay, that didn't quite stick, or I'll try my hand at this. That didn't quite stick, and then you you get to a business or a project or a passion, and you're like, this is me. This is the
Right.
lane I'm supposed to be in.
Mhm.
And so that's not your story is what you're saying because you
Not for the
already knew.
organizing, no. I was like, "I love doing this."
Mm.
Like, I walk into a home and people are just anxious and can't wait for everything to be done at the snap of a fingers. I'm walking in happy and excited and assuring them that we are going to get to the promised land.
Right.
We are going to get to the promised land. Someone said to me, when you gain your weight when you're pregnant, it takes 9 months to put the weight on. Give yourself 9 months to take it off.
I love that.
Whatever situation I'm walking into, it did not happen overnight.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
so I assure people, when you look at this, don't look at this whole house or this whole room. We're going to start right in this little tiny corner, and there will
That
be progress. It's just one step at a time. We're going to work on this corner, and then we're going to work on this corner, and you'll have
mhm.
that much done. Then we're going to work on this corner, and you'll have this much done.
Yeah, that's
So they're dreading it, and I'm loving it.
yeah, and it's interesting that you say that because that's exactly how you feel. Like for
Mhm.
people like me who are probably not as organized as I need to be. But I just think about like I really wanted to move back into my makeshift bedroom office. And
Mhm.
I went in there and I was like, ugh, I can't do this. It's just too much. And so it's like eating the elephant at once, right? As
Right.
opposed to eat until you get to a place you're like, just gonna eat the elephant one bite at a time.
That's it. That's it.
And I think that's most people get so overwhelmed, like, because it's so much.
They
Um,
do.
and I'm a testament to that. That's why I was like, it took me like a whole year to like figure that thing out. But what I will ask, Racine, is okay, so upon launching and getting clients, what were some of the things that you did struggle with? Like, was that, like business plan or funding or getting customers or any of those things that it takes to kind of get a business going and sustainable?
Well, for this particular type of business, a lot of people always say, I need a professional organizer,
Mhm.
but it's taking that first step.
Mm,
You know, a lot of people say, I know I need it. I know it. Or some people will hire me, and after 3 or 4 times, they may fall back a little bit, and then they'll pick me back up again. I think just the momentum to keep going. Like, I
mhm,
can go. Like, I can go. Even when I walk into a home, the first thing I do is what I call the 4 bag system. Because when I walk into a home, most people, including myself, we all have too much stuff.
mhm, mhm.
That's the bottom line.
Say that
Say it again to the people in the
in
back
the
can hear you.
back. Yes.
Okay. We all, including myself, we have too much stuff. And I do find when I do have clients, I'll come back home like, Racine, do what you're telling everybody to do. Get rid of stuff. Just start getting rid of stuff. So I think a lot of times people think I'm going to come in and start organizing, but that's not the
Mm,
first step. The first step is what I call my 4 bag system.
okay.
So I have 4 bags. What are you going to give to your family and friends? What are you going to give to shelters? Because people forget about shelters. What are we giving to Goodwill? And what are we throwing away in the trash? For the most part, the least amount of stuff is in the trash because I'm a big believer in one person's trash is another person's treasures. And
Mm,
the amount of stuff that we find in homes that are brand new with price tags on it. So even when I finish my first or second or sometimes my third session, things are still not organized because I'm explaining to my clients we need to get rid of stuff. And once we get rid of things, that opens up space. So even though they may look over here in this corner and be like, look at this is still a mess. I'm saying, but we have literally 8 trash bags over here. Literally, like
wow.
8 big, huge trash bags over here. Got to get rid of stuff first. Then we can start organizing. So that usually works pretty well. Sometimes with some clients, there's the challenges of, you're right, do I want to get rid of it?
Mhm.
having them get rid of. Now, I come in just to make suggestions. If what I'm saying doesn't work for you, please let me know. I can always come up with other ideas. So sometimes getting rid of things is an issue,
Mhm.
or
Mhm.
just like having them throw things out.
Yeah.
As far as getting clients, it's kind of ebbs and flows. It ebbs and flows. But as far as the business plan, it's pretty simple. Go and organize.
Right. It it and that does sound pretty simple. I mean, because from where you sit, you're like, I have these principles that I'm employing
Hmm.
that I'm asking you to think about these 4 buckets.
Right.
And in these 4 buckets, it seems very simple. It really
Hmm.
does. So, but Racine, we know that, a lot of times clutter and things has an emotional attachment.
Yes.
And so why do we struggle with this letting go that really keeps us stuck and paralyzes us from just getting to a place of peace?
Sometimes with the older generation, my seniors, they still like paper, and I like paper too.
Mhm.
I've needed to move on to like, let's stop getting paper and stuff in the mail, right? I've had to say to them, whatever you have in paper form, let's say it's bank statements. Keep a year's worth, 1 year. That's it. So here we are in January of 2026. You can't have anything older than January 2025. And if you need it, you can get it from the bank.
Right.
You know, in terms of other things that your children did.
Mhm.
And I'm probably about to go through this soon. One thing that people do is take pictures. You can take pictures of it, put it on a hard drive. Now,
Mm.
some things that people really want to keep it.
Mhm. Mhm.
Some things are worth keeping and it's sentimental and I'm a very sentimental person and I have all these keepsakes. Another thing that I'm looking around at my office and it made me think of something else. When my son moved out, I started using his bedroom as my office and it was a blank slate, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
The only thing I purchased for my office was a shelf with 2 drawers.
Mm.
You know what the rest of my office is decorated with? And I often tell this to people also. All the stuff that we have in bins that we have as what we call keepsakes that mean something to us,
Mhm.
something from your grandmother,
Mhm.
picture that your father painted. I'm looking around my office.
Those
Photographs
the
from the
beautiful
past.
pictures behind you.
Yes, there's a story behind that also. I'm looking around my office. Everything in my office are keepsakes.
Mhm.
The table that my father took out of our neighbor's trash and refinished.
Wow.
This little, what they would call back in the, I'm looking at it, something for the phone books. Remember a phone book?
Yes, yes.
Phone book went on one side to something that my father, an end table that he picked up out of our neighbor's trash and refinished it. That's in my office. That's special to me
Mhm.
because my father refinished that. So instead of having everything in a bin under a bed, oh, this is a keepsake.
Mhm. Mhm.
It's in my room and I can look at it.
It's those memories. It's
It's the memories, and I have
those
the memories
memories.
out as opposed to in a bin.
Mhm.
That's how I decorated my whole office.
I love that. I love that, and really, it allows, you to your clients to reconnect to what matters the most, as opposed to
Exactly.
all these things. We have so many things, and, I just look around, I'm like, "Please don't give me another cup, another mirror." But but to your point, it's like, it's the things that create the memories for you. And
Yes.
that has that sentimental value. And so, yeah, I think that's once we get to that place,
Mhm.
then I think that we can feel free.
Right.
We can feel free and we don't have all these things attached to us.
And it declutters your brain.
Yes. Like, now when I go
You
in my
can
office, I'm
think.
like, "Oh my gosh, I
Right,
can, like, stretch out. The chair
right.
can move around." That
Mm.
that's freeing to me. And so, Racine, I have met quite a few organizers.
Mhm.
And so what makes Elite different from these other organizing businesses that are out here?
One thing that I hear all the time from my clients, and I would have no idea if other organizers do this, but all my clients always say to me, "Thank you so much for not judging me."
Mm,
And I guess they always think I'm gonna come in and judge because I'm an organizer and they're
we
calling on me
do.
to organize their house. There is no judgment here. We all have our strengths and weaknesses. And where my weaknesses are, I reach out for help also. So there's just I do constantly hear that. Um, there is no judgment. I will meet you where you are. I will start wherever in the house that you want me to. I'm not going to um I'm going to listen to all your suggestions.
Mhm,
I'm going to implement things that work for your lifestyle
mhm,
because everybody has a different lifestyle. You know what I mean?
mhm.
Some people
Absolutely.
may want to come in the door and they may want to have a drop space to put the keys and the purse and the bag. Whereas someone else may say, I don't want, I don't want it, I don't want this by my front door. Okay. So for example, I had a client one time and I saw where I could utilize more space in her house. For example, by putting something over the bathroom door so she could maybe hang towels on the bathroom door. Or if you open up the pantry, we could have put something on the pantry that could hang down on the inside where we could store
Mhm.
more things. And she was like, "No, I don't want anything on my doors. I don't want anything on my walls to hang in." And I said, "Okay." She was like, "No." And I said, "Okay." I said, "It's more space. It's more storage space." She was like, "No." I said, "It was just a suggestion." I mean, and if that does not work for you, that's fine. We will figure something else out.
Yep, I love
I
it.
love it.
I love it. So, Racine, I wanna pivot
Oh,
to this amazing book.
I do have one more thing.
Oh.
I just thought about it because I saw it on my desk. Ugh, I'm so sorry. The other thing I do is whenever I have a new client, I have a welcome packet. The welcome packet tells on one side a little bit about myself and then an article that I wrote for a magazine. But in the middle, a lot of times people say, I have this, that, and the other. What do I do with it?
Mm.
So I've put something together called New Homes for Your Clutter.
New homes for your clutter.
New homes for your clutter. So you can go from A to Z. Where can I put shoes? Where can I do recycle? Where can I do with
Huh,
magazines? What can I do with medication? What can I do with eyeglasses? What can I do with tennis shoes? And
I
people have found that very helpful.
like that. And that's like an intake form?
It's just my welcome packet.
Okay, okay, okay. Okay, it's something that will continue to live on actually once you're gone because, I mean,
Right. Because you're
you
just
know,
like, where am I? Because everything does not need to go in the trash.
and the challenge too, Racine, is once you get what we think is in order,
Hmm.
inevitably something gets out of order. And then you're like, "Wait a minute, I'm back to where I started."
Well, I try to give solutions for that.
Okay. Okay.
Yes, we're going to organize everything, but we're also going to put some solutions in place. So I
Mm,
also have a master's degree in counseling psychology. So I think that plays a lot into it also because
okay.
I'm thinking about, and I'm asking them, sometimes, how did we get here? Well, how did this
Mhm.
happen?
Mm,
What do you think about doing this? Because we don't want to go back to that. So I have ideas and solutions, but also ideas and solutions for them to carry out so that you can stay exactly where I leave you.
I like that.
Mhm.
Well, speaking of how did we get here, how did we get to this amazing book? Upside down is right side up. I mean, only that works in a gymnast world, right?
Uh,
Upside down is right side up.
the first title that came to my head, because
And
upside down is right side up to us.
and exact that's my point. Like that's a gymnast that's yeah, that's a gymnast thing. And
Yep.
so let's talk about this. Like what was the inspiration and like why do you think this like and so you talk about like the premise is around forgiveness and appreciating differences.
Mhm.
And so why do you think this book is important and why right now?
So this is completely opposite of my organizing business, where with my organizing, I was like, "Oh, I can do this." I don't even know where to begin. This is something I did not see coming.
Mm.
So a friend of mine from undergrad called me on the phone in the spring of 2021 and said, "We need to write a children's book about an African American gymnast." And I said, "What?" She called me early in the morning. She said, "I had a dream. We need to write a children's book about an African American gymnast." And I'm thinking like, I was just like this, huh? When have you ever heard me say I want to write a book?
Right.
I'll do cartwheels for you. I'll organize for you. What? And I thought about it for about 5 seconds and I said, I love it.
Mm.
And I think I said that because at that time, the kids had graduated from high school and I had one almost out of college and the other one was graduating from high school. And I was like, I'm going to do this. I hung the phone up and I thought to myself, I have no idea how to do any of this. Not a thing. So, over the course of about 3 or 4 weeks, when I couldn't sleep at night, the story would come to me. And the next morning, I would pick up my phone and do everything voice to text. So, the
Mm.
entire story was written voice to text in my color notes in my phone. And it took me just about 3 different nights, and I had the whole story.
3 nights.
3 nights. I couldn't sleep at night. I would think about the story. The story would come. And it's just a story I made up in my head. It's just a story, right?
Mhm.
And that's how it got started.
Wow.
That's what happened.
So Racine, I mean, and so I think what I think I'm hearing you say, it's really not about you. It's about this made up gymnast. But is there any elements of it around with the foundation of it, given that you were the first Black
Yes.
gymnast at the University of Nebraska? Like, what?
Well, here's the thing. People say, Racine, that this past weekend I was vending at Maryland and I have a 5 foot cutout of PJ, the main character. And someone said, Is that you? And I said, No, it's not. But you've asked an African American gymnast to write a children's book about an African American gymnast. So something is bound to come out. The story I just made up. Are there pieces in the book that have to do with me? Yes.
Okay.
You may get it or you may not get it. So, for example, the parent's name is Mr. and Mrs. Smith.
Okay.
My maiden name is Smith.
Okay.
That was, I wanted to show honor and have a piece of my parents in the book because they were my rock,
Mm,
my
mhm.
best, my best cheerleaders, my supporters. They were everything to me during my gymnastics journey. There's a dog in the book named Cadillac. My dog's name was Cadillac.
Mm.
The name of my business is an organizing business is Elite Organizing Services. The name of the gymnastics team in my book is Elite Gymnastics Center. I like Elite. Elite is the highest level of gymnastics, and I did go to Elite trials. So there's that. My coaches were married, Carolyn and Jerry Shrewsbury, and the coach in the book is named Coach Carey. I
Mm.
combined Carolyn and Jerry and got Carrie. No one's going to really know that except for me.
Right.
PJ designs leotards, and as the illustrator showed me one page, it was PJ thinking about what she was going to design, and there was a big bubble above her head, and there was room for four leotards. And I said, I would like to pay tribute to the 4 Black sororities. So in this bubble, as PJ is thinking about designing leotards, I told the illustrator, I said, I need 1 pink and green leotard, 1 red and white leotard, 1 blue and white leotard, and 1 blue and gold leotard. And I said, it needs to be these specific colors in this specific order. If you get it, you get it. If you don't, you don't. It's okay. So there are pieces like that in there. But the story I just made up.
A good one.
Yeah.
A good made
Thank
up
you.
story. Paying homage to all of these individuals and organizations and institutions that really help shape you and that
Right.
honor your community,
Mhm.
I would say. And so I think that's amazing, simply amazing. And so, your first time author,
Yes.
what was that like? Like, give us the tea on that. Like that.
And something that I didn't sit back and think about, when I grow up, I wanna be an author. When I retire, I wanna be an author. No, not at all. So, after I wrote the book, it was, let's find an illustrator.
Mm,
How do you do that? Every step was, well, how do you do that?
right.
Well well well, where do you get that from? Well, what is that? I knew nothing,
Mm,
nothing. Found an illustrator on Upworks,
mhm.
and you can view a lot of illustrators on there, and you can see their work, and we saw the work of Stephanie De La Cruz, who is an illustrator out of California, and she did children's books, and I liked what I saw, and so that's who I hired. And she did an absolutely fabulous job.
Mhm.
She really, really did. And as far as when people ask me, is that you when they look at PJ, I just said, I was like, I want her to be this shade. I want her parents to be this shade.
Mhm.
I don't want her to be a gymnast that's super, super thin.
Mhm. Mhm.
And it was important to me that her hair looked like this.
Mhm.
My hair was not like this as a gymnast because this wasn't in almost 50 years ago.
Right, right, right.
But I did want her to have, our natural hair. I think she did a fabulous job with the illustration. She read the story and she would add things here and there. And most everything she did, I was like, okay, that's fine. That's nice. She would ask my opinion about something. But besides me telling her, can I have a pink and green, red and white, blue and gold leotard? And this is the name of the gym.
She
I
took
kind of,
off and she ran with it.
she ran with it, which was fine with me because that's your area.
Right.
I, I'm, she asked me something here and there, and a lot of times I'm like, whatever you think.
Right.
You know, I mean,
She
because
was like,
that's
"You
your
easy."
area.
She
Huh,
was like, "You're easy."
yeah, I mean, I think the hardest part was getting PJ's body from head to toe together. Other than that, the rest was just, and the parents, other than that, the rest was just smooth sailing.
Wow.
I said, those that you put in the gym, can I have, Caucasian, Asian? I have ideas of what I'm going to do for the next book, but yeah, I'll let her just kind of run with it.
I love that. I love that. So you're self-published,
I am.
and that is no easy feat.
It is not, but before choosing to be self-published, we were talking to others, but no one would bite. And then I was like, that's because nobody knows me. You know,
And
who,
they weren't willing to take a chance either. That's what it is.
right? Like, and so then someone said to me, okay, no judging, no laughing, okay? Promise me. Someone said, well, Racine, why did you self-publish through Amazon? I said, you, you can publish a book through Amazon? I did not know. Because, you go to Amazon to buy things. You can buy books, but I
Right.
didn't know. I had no idea. I was like, oh, okay. Again, I I didn't know. I
Yeah.
didn't know. I
And
mean,
most people don't who had not thought about writing a book
uh, nope.
and has no clue about how to get the book from your phone from the pages, from the pages to a bound book.
Clueless.
Like,
Clueless.
most people who are not in that space
Right.
don't know.
And I'm not even remotely was not even remotely close to that space, not even from a mile away, not at all. So everything, I am living proof that you can teach an old dog new tricks.
Look, that's what this
I
is
am
about, right? This is about, like, after 30, 20, 30 years of whatever that is, you're now rediscovering yourself.
right, like, who knew?
And what does that look like? But how do I get to that? How do I get that thing to be a thing? That's what this journey is really all about. How do I get this thing to be a thing? And so now you're self-published, carrying these books in your back seat or your trunk and stacked in your house. Like, so
Yes.
how did
Check,
you
check.
get it to a bookstore? How did you get this how did you get it to the bookstore?
Well, this is what I initially thought. I published a book. Okay. Okay, I think I'm supposed to go read at the library. Isn't that what everyone does? You go read on a Saturday morning to kids in the library. I haven't done that yet. I published my book on the opening ceremonies of the 2024 Paris Olympics, July 26, 2024. When July 26, 2025 came around, if I didn't see this with my own eyes, I wouldn't have believed it. 52 weeks in a year, right?
Mhm.
I had done 42 events.
Wow.
I,
Wow.
that's what I said, as if it wasn't me outside of my own body. Yes, I had done 42 events in 52 weeks. And when I say events, I don't mean single day events, because when you're talking about vending at gymnastics meets, if it's an invitational, you're easily talking about 3-day meets vending for 12 hours a day. And that's one event.
Woof.
Yes. So as a matter of fact, this past weekend, there was a huge meet at the University of Maryland, 2,400 gymnasts. Last year, it's a 4-day meet. I was vending for 3 days last year. I couldn't vend 3 days this year. Ask me why.
Because you had to get more books.
No, because now I'm a women's artistic gymnastics judge. So one day
Ugh.
and 2 days I was judging.
How is this possible, Racine? Like, you have a full-time job, you are a wife, you
I
have an
do.
organizing business, you're an author. Now you've just added one more thing.
Right. And then there's a couple more things also. So as I'm going around vending my book at gymnastics meets, and gymnastics season is like November to March. So all last season I was vending. I was just getting in gymnastics meets. I was, doing career day at schools. Then folks were calling me from different organizations. Racine, can you come read your book to our children? Our organizations, we work with children. I said, okay. And I thought to myself, something else should be done. I can go in and read my book in 8 minutes. Nope, we need to do something else. So I started coming up with these other ideas, like PJ designs leotards. So if I'm in a gymnastics setting, I have the kids design leotards. If I'm not in a gymnastics setting after I read the book, I have them design whatever they want to. So when I'm doing career day and I'm in the public school system, I say design what you want. One student raised her hand. She said, I don't know what to design. I said, what do you like? She says, I like purses. I said, design a purse.
Mm.
After they design that, then I have them come to the front and talk about what they designed. And what is that called? But I don't tell them. Public speaking. So now the kids are public speaking. So then another time I had actually the Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated, which is, I'm a member of that sorority.
Mhm.
I was working with one of the grad chapters in Prince George's County, and they were doing a 5K. And they said, how can you integrate your book into us doing, this 5K run? I said, not a problem. So I came up with the benefits of reading because I wrote a book and the benefits of physical activity because it was a 5K and PJ's an athlete and I'm an ex-athlete. So
Mhm.
now I've put this into, I'm reading the book. The kids are designing different things. We're talking about the benefits of reading. We're talking about the benefits of physical activity. Then what's going on in the gymnastics world and the cheer world is, remember the old school clothespins, the wooden
Yeah.
clothespins?
Yes.
So
Yes.
now I do self-affirmation. So I take the clothespins and I bling them out. I'll put words on there such as leader, enough, powerful, strong. And if
That.
I'm working with a group of kids who know each other, I have them pair up in twos and pick a word for the other child. Then they go back up to the front. And again, why did you pick that word from that child? What is that called? More public speaking. If the kids don't know each other, then I have them pick a word of affirmation that resonates with them. And then they get up and talk about, why did you choose this word? So that's
Mhm.
a workshop that I've put together called Love the Skin You're In. And that's for elementary school age, K through fifth grade. Now, for my middle schoolers and high schoolers, I do a vision board. And I know most people know what a vision board is.
Mhm.
Vision board workshops, you go in, put these beautiful pictures on a paper. Well, what makes mine different? I take it a couple steps further. Before we even start with the vision board, we do a worksheet. And it's a worksheet with all these different categories on it. So when the kids leave, and mind you, it's not just for middle school and high schoolers, it can be young adults, it could be a girls' night out, whatever.
Mhm.
But for the children, I don't want them to walk away with a poster with these beautiful pictures. Because, we're talking about, what is that, middle school, 11th grade,
Mhm.
11 years old to 17, right? You're walking out with this beautiful poster with all these pictures. And I don't want you to say, well, now how do I get here? So with my worksheet, I have different categories, academics and health and fitness and post middle school, post high school, all of that. You're writing your goals down, which essentially turn into pictures on your board, right? But then under that, I have objectives. So I want them to walk out with a roadmap of
Mhm.
objectives of how to get to their goals. On top of that, once you leave me, who's going to help you? So I want the kids to write down who's your tribe. So when you get stuck, who are you going to talk to?
Mhm.
So that's another piece of my vision board empowerment workshop. So when you walk out, you have your objectives to reach your goals. You have your tribe of who you're going to talk to in case you get stuck.
Racine, if you think about it, as I was listening to you, those steps that you've given these young people, a
Hmm.
lot of it can be transferred to your organizing. Like,
Right.
when you walk away from this experience and now that you can see things with fresh eyes and you've decluttered. So like, what is your objectives and what are you gonna do to maintain this and
Right.
continue to have this sense of peace about what this thing that you've worked on. So it sounds very much like what you're giving your adult clients in your organizing business as well.
Hmm.
So I really like that. I really like that a lot because you're incorporating a lot of you a lot a lot of the things that you're doing with different age people and in different industries is all kind of come together. Really.
Right. Somehow they're connected.
They're all exactly. They're
Somehow
somehow
it's all connected. So, right.
exactly,
And it's
exactly.
funny you say different ages because, like I said, yes, I'm now a women's artistic gymnastics judge. And then I'm also on a board at Ginger Cove, which is working with seniors. So Ginger Cove is a CCRC, continuing care residential facility.
Mhm, mhm.
It's a huge campus. So they have independent living, assistive living, and skilled nursing. So I'm work with that population also. But I'm a care coordinator. So I'm used to working with ages from the cradle to the grave.
Mhm,
So
mhm.
innately I am of service. And just realizing probably in the last 10 or 15 years, remember I said some things are not taught, they're caught.
Mm.
And I think back upon my parents and I'm like, oh my goodness, I'm Lil and Ray's child. Because as I think back, I'm like, oh my goodness, both of my parents were of service.
Mhm.
That was just them innately. And I'm like, I am their child. I mean, this is what I have seen over the last or figured out over the last, let's say, 8 to 10 years. I am innately of service. I'm a care coordinator. Both of my degrees are in my undergrad's in human development. My master's is in counseling psychology. I enjoy serving. I enjoy helping. And now if you think about it, everything I'm doing, that's what, yeah,
Yeah.
that's
It's
what
all
it is. That's what everything is.
exactly.
And I love it. I love it. And everything that's followed with who knew?
Yeah. I mean, I think that's you are where you're supposed to be.
Yes. And I'm also in a couple of spaces where there are not a lot of African Americans. I am occupying those spaces
Mhm.
again, but it feels a little different. You know, back when I was a gymnast, I was young, I was just going on about my business,
Well, you were a student. You were a
things
student.
going over my head, just
Right.
loving the gymnastics life. It's a little bit it's a little bit different now. Back then, I didn't understand or know or realize the space I was occupying.
Mm.
Not realize. I mean, I've just kind of started realizing it in about the last 15 or 20 years.
Mm.
Even when the first time that I had an event with my book, it was at the Sports Learning Complex, and a friend of mine from high school came up and he said, Racine, where's your stuff? And I said, what do you mean? I said, my book is right here. So I had my table and I had my books out. And he said, well, where's your stuff? And I said, what do you mean? The book's right here. He said, first of all, you need more books out. He's like, where's your stuff? I'm like, what stuff? He said, your awards, your medals, your plaques, your
Mm.
letter jacket. And I looked at him, I was like, in the garage, in a bed? I don't know. He said, you need to get everything out. And I kind of felt like I, I didn't want to brag.
Right,
Like
right,
I don't want to, why do I, who wants to look at this stuff? I'm
right,
selling a book. I didn't get it. Again, see the organizing I got.
right, right.
This piece, and he's like, "No, you need to bring it all out." I went up in the garage, I took medals out. I had to take the ribbons of my medals and soak them in soap and water and Clorox because we're talking about stuff that's 40, 45 years old.
Exactly.
And now that I've put everything out, I have a 5-foot cutout of PJ, I get it now.
Mhm.
I didn't I didn't get it. The stuff that I told you that was keepsake in my office, there was gymnastic stuff. I have blank spots on my wall now because I use that for my vending.
Mm.
Medals, anything that's NCAA, conference championships, all of that. I get it now.
Yeah.
All that to say, I didn't understand or get the space I was in. I remember when I would come home in the summertime from Nebraska and I'd run into folks and we'd go through the whole story. At Nebraska, how'd you get there? You recruited? Yes, and people, do you play basketball? No. Volleyball? No. Track? No. Gymnastics? Yes. And older people, like 35, because 35 is old when you're 18.
Right.
No,
Mhm.
African Americans, they would say, oh my gosh, I'm so proud of you. And I remember walking away. I would say thank you and walk away saying, why?
But you get it now.
I get it now. I
Yeah.
did not get it back then.
Yeah.
So these spaces that I'm in,
Mhm.
I absolutely feel like I'm where I'm supposed to be, and I'm here for a reason.
Mhm.
Seen by other African Americans,
Mhm.
and I accept it.
Mm.
I feel like, and I just said this past weekend to a coach. I said, I feel like I'm here to support in any way that I can. However, someone needs me, I'm here to support you.
I love that. I like that. I love that a lot. I mean, because and as I asked you at the top of this conversation, like, why now? Like, and so why do you think this book is so important now? And now that you've been out there promoting this book, you've had a lot of aha moments. Like, so you see now why now is the time.
I do. Yes, 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 yes. So another thing that happened was I was selected to speak at USAG, United States of America Gymnastics Regional
Mm.
Conference. And this region, Region 7, is Maryland. Virginia, West Virginia, Delaware, New Jersey, and Pennsylvania. And it was another judge who judged me almost 50 years ago and said, Racine, you need to speak at the conference. And again, I'm like, what? I'm used to being on the athlete side, right? I'm like, what? She said, yes. She said, you know that piece in your book that talks about hair? And as soon as she said that, I said, she wants me to talk about racism and microaggressions and unconscious bias in gymnastics. And she said, you have 24 hours. This is due tomorrow. I'm like, what? That's like, again, what? What? And I'm every other day, I'm like, how did I get here? What is going on in my life? So I did a synopsis of, blah, 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 blah. And it was like, what is the title? And I'm like, I don't know. Accepting differences.
Just
And
that simple.
Yeah, just simple. Cause it
Just that
like this is
simple.
due in 24 hours, right? I was like, accepting differences. And it said it made them take 3 months for them to make a decision. And they chose me with that topic.
With that topic. So it really wasn't the topic, Racine, it was the content.
The content. And then the different things that I was hearing from African American parents and some Caucasian parents who were seeing things that they thought were unfair. I kept getting the stories, and I put that also in my presentation. So that, in combination with a little piece of the book, yeah, I guess it was the right time.
It's the right time. God gave her that vision at the right time.
Right.
At the right time. And so, we've talked about the business, we talked about the book, which requires really kind of thought and processing. And so, what would you say, just based on the fact that you now have launched this business, you've authored this book, you've branched out. So, what would you say are your three kind of your words of wisdom, advice for really kind of starting a business, becoming an author, essentially kind of really leaning into the thing that you want to do and staying in that hustle?
Because it is a hustle.
It is a hustle.
It is a hustle. For myself, because I do have a lot going on. And of course, I have the right to say no to things, but I feel like I'm in spaces that I'm supposed to be in, and people want me in them. People want me in them from comments that I've heard. And so for myself, something that I do say a lot to myself is just keep putting one foot in front of the other. Baby steps. It's kind of like what I was explaining about the organizing. When they see the big picture and you get overwhelmed. And I said, we're just going to work on this corner. So I just tell myself, keep moving forward. Keep moving forward. Keep moving forward. Take another step and take another step, because there's a lot to do. And you can't do everything. And you can't do everything at the same time. So just take one step at a time. If you don't know how to do something, go find somebody who knows how to do it. Go ask the questions. We are not meant to do things. We're not meant to function on this earth alone. Okay? Just like I love my organizing, I have my weaknesses. Okay, let me go find somebody. Can you show me how to do this? How do I get into this? What do I do with that? That's how I get through it. Baby steps. Just keeping one step, and another step. And the next day, do another step. And I keep a long to-do list. Because there's so much to do. Again, my color notes on my phone. Every time someone tells me something, I just write it on the list. And I just keep circling back around. So I would say, just keep moving forward. Accept invitations to do whatever. because I find when I go one place, I meet someone else that leads me to something else. That I can definitely say is true without a doubt. And just be open.
Mm.
Uh, be open to different things.
Mhm.
That's fairly easy for me. I just saw a guy at Maryland this past weekend who a year ago, he called me a unicorn. And when we met, he passed by my table and he said, "You're a gymnast?" And he saw my table. He said, "You're the first Black gymnast at Nebraska?" And I said, "Yes." He said, "Oh, wow." He said, "Where are you from?" I said, "Prince George's County." He said, "Wait a minute. You from Prince George's County and you were the first Black gymnast that went to the University of Nebraska?" I said, "Yes." And then he happened to see a bag behind me that said Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated. He said, "Wait a minute. You're from PG County, Prince George's County. You were a gymnast at Nebraska and you're AKA?" I said, "Yes," because a lot of Division I athletes are not Greek.
Mm.
You're seeing a little bit more now, and typically it might be more males than females, but we're busy as
Mhm.
student athletes
Mhm, mhm.
at the D1 level. So it just happened. When he was talking to me, I was sitting down and I happened to stand up. He said, "How tall are you?" I said, "Almost 5'9". He said, "Wait a minute. You from Prince George's County." He said, "You from Prince George's County. You were the first Black gymnast at the University of Nebraska. You're a member of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated, and you almost 5'9". He said, "You're a unicorn." I was like, "It is a little, yeah,
He's like,
that's
"Yeah, maybe I am.
I am." I
Maybe
never thought
I
about it
am."
that way because I'm just living my life, but
Right.
it is a very odd combination
Yes.
now that he made me think about it.
Right. You're like, "Huh,
Huh, okay.
maybe he's onto something there."
Yes, I'm okay.
Right.
I accept being called a unicorn. Thank you.
So, Racine, what's next for Elite Organizing? PJ, like, is PJ gonna like do some more things? Is she gonna grow up? Like, what is next? What can we expect from Miss Racine Smith Williams?
Well, with the organizing, we'll just continue to organize. Whatever someone wants me to organize, it doesn't matter. I organize everything. For the book, people keep saying to me, "No, Racine, PJ needs to grow up. PJ needs to grow up." I'm like, "Okay, but we're working on PJ growing up.
Okay,
W- We're working on PJ growing up.
okay, okay,
I'm putting one step in front of the other,
okay, okay.
one step in, one foot in front of the other." Judging is brand new for me. There's a lot of studying that takes place. I will say studying for being the studying that it takes to be a judge has absolutely graduate school has nothing on what it takes to study to be a judge.
Mm.
So that's another new constant. I try to get in, but like I said, my time is very split. It is really, really split.
And you're still a mother and a wife, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Well,
I was
the adult children. They're
just check.
22 and 22 and almost 26. But
Okay.
yes. And yes, I am
Okay.
married.
I'm just, I
So I
just
have
wanted to
that.
check.
Yes, and I do still work full time.
Okay.
Mhm.
Okay. And I forgot that that's still an element like a full-time job, but
Right.
you're making
That
it work.
that look, that's
You're
just
ma-
little thing.
right, 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 right. So this has been
I do,
like,
what? I was gonna say there is something else that I do, but I'm also a crafter. I
hmm,
crochet. So
okay.
I crochet and then I do one craft show a year. I might add some more next year around Christmas time, but I do that also.
So I think the gentleman was right that you're a unicorn. Yeah, I think he was on to something. I really think he was on to something.
I'm gonna go shirt and have a unicorn put on it.
Yes. So, Racine, this has been amazing.
Thank you.
Amazing. And so, how can people find you, access you, get the book, all that?
Okay, so for Elite Organizing Services, you can go to my website, eliteorganizingservices.com. You can email me at organizedbyracine@gmail.com. You can also call me at 301-332-3770. But you can go to my website and make an appointment. Again, eliteorganizingservices.com or email me at organizedbyracine@gmail.com. As far as the book is available on Amazon. Upside down is right side up. And for information about PJ, you can go to my IG because everyone said PJ needs her own IG. I
Mm.
said, okay. So my IG is Flip with PJ, FLIP with PJ. I was going to say at Gmail, but flipwithpj@gmail.com is my email for PJ, but you can also go to my IG, which is Flip with PJ.
Because PJ is her own person. PJ
She
has
is.
her own identity, her
She
own
really
brand.
does. I have people who actually come up to me and say, "How's PJ doing?" Like, you know she's not real, right? But no, but I do act like she's real. But let me share this with you. This is really funny. So last year, I had an all expense paid trip to do vending at a gymnastics meet in Boston. And so I shipped PJ up to Boston and she was a day late. And this is going to sound like I'm crazy, right? I was setting up my table and I actually missed PJ. Like I felt like PJ's not here. Like I'm like because everybody does really love PJ and people love the cutout. But she came a day and I was like, PJ's here. Yeah.
Oh,
It's like she's a real
PJ.
person.
Yeah. Well, hey, I mean, that's how characters get a life, right? That's how they
Right.
become, that's how you bring them to life. So I get
Right.
it. Hey, I'm a cheerleader for PJ. I'm here for it. I'm here for PJ. So
So you can get the book on Amazon.
great. Great. You all heard it. You've heard Racine's words of wisdom. You've heard about PJ. You must go out and get this book. Upside down is right side up. And if you need some organizing, Elite Organizing is here to help. So thank you, Racine,
And the
for
workshops.
and the workshops, like
Mhm.
and the workshops. How can I forget all those things? So thank you for your words of wisdom.
Thank you for having me on.
Absolutely. And to my listeners, I hope you found this inspiring, motivating, and encouraging to start or stay in your hustle. Be sure to subscribe, like, and share at YouTube at Wisdom in Hustle. That's Wisdom in the letter N, Hustle. And in the words of Snoop Dogg, until the next episode, take care. Bye bye.